Learn English through story. Forbidden Fruits. At 42, Isabelle Renault had crafted her life with meticulous care, as if piecing together an intricate mosaic. She lived in an elegant townhouse in Bordeaux, held a respected position at a law firm, and surrounded herself with tasteful comforts. Her marriage to Charles was stable, though perhaps predictably so, marked by predictable conversations and routine vacations. There was love between them, certainly, but it was the calm, familiar sort of love that came with the passage of years, rather than the spark-filled romance of their youth. Isabelle had always been pragmatic, valuing stability over excitement. She had witnessed her own parents' marriage fall apart when she was young, leaving her mother to raise her alone. She'd vowed never to repeat the same mistakes, to build her life on a solid foundation. And so, every decision Isabelle made was weighed carefully, and every path taken was chosen with caution. She had built a life she was proud of, a life that didn't leave room for risk, passion, or anything that might upset its carefully crafted balance. But as she approached middle age, Isabelle began to feel the faintest stirrings of discontent. It was a subtle thing, a quiet hum beneath her everyday thoughts, but it grew louder over time. She wondered if this was all there was to life: a steady job, a comfortable marriage, a polite network of friends. Was there nothing more? She tried to ignore it, tried to remind herself of everything she had worked so hard to achieve. But the feeling only grew stronger. A restlessness she couldn't quite name, a longing for something a broken bar else. And then, one evening, at a gallery opening she attended on a whim, she met Adam. Adam was a sculptor, a man of raw talent and undeniable charisma. He was 10 years younger than Isabelle, with an easy smile and an infectious passion for his art that made him stand out in the crowd. They struck up a conversation, talking about art, travel, life, and Isabelle found herself laughing more than she had in years. There was something about Adam that made her feel alive, like he was a reminder of the person she used to be, before she became so careful, so responsible. By the end of the evening, Adam had invited her to see his studio, and though Isabelle hesitated, she found herself accepting, almost against her own better judgment. She convinced herself it was harmless, that it was nothing more than an innocent visit to an artist's studio, a chance to satisfy her curiosity. But when she arrived at the studio a few days later, stepping into the dim, chaotic space filled with sculptures and sketches, she felt a thrill that went far beyond curiosity. Adam greeted her with a warm smile, offering her a glass of wine, and they spent the evening talking and laughing, sharing stories and secrets that seemed to come easily in the intimacy of the studio. Isabelle was captivated by him, by his openness, his freedom, his willingness to embrace life without hesitation. As the evening wore on, Isabelle felt herself drawn to him in ways she hadn't anticipated. When he reached for her hand, she didn't pull away. When he leaned in to kiss her, she let herself melt into his embrace, surrendering to the rush of desire that flooded through her. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to indulge, to step outside the boundaries she had so carefully drawn. In the days and weeks that followed, Isabelle found herself living a double life. She would go to work, come home to Charles, go through the motions of her carefully curated life. But she would also meet Adam, stealing moments of passion and intimacy that left her breathless. It was exhilarating, a secret thrill that made her feel alive in ways she hadn't felt in years. She knew it was dangerous, that she was risking everything she had built, but she couldn't bring herself to stop. Yet, as time went on, the exhilaration began to fade, replaced by a growing sense of guilt and unease. She loved Charles, or at least, she thought she did, and though her marriage lacked the passion she felt with Adam, it provided her with a sense of security and belonging that she had come to rely on. She knew that what she was doing was wrong, that she was betraying the man who had stood by her for years. But the allure of the forbidden, The excitement of her affair was like a drug she couldn't quit. Isabel tried to keep her emotions in check, to treat her time with Adam as a harmless escape. But Adam was not content to be her secret. He wanted more, wanted her to leave her husband and build a life with him. The more time they spent together, the more he pushed, urging her to take a leap, to choose passion over security. One evening, after a heated argument, Adam gave her an ultimatum. He told her he couldn't keep doing this, couldn't keep being her secret. If she wanted to be with him, she would have to leave Charles, to commit fully to a life with him. Isabel was torn, caught between two worlds, two versions of herself. She spent sleepless nights agonizing over the decision, feeling as though she was being torn in two. She wanted to be with Adam, wanted the passion and excitement he offered, but she was afraid to leave behind the stability of her marriage, the life she had worked so hard to build. She tried to talk to Charles, to bring up her feelings of restlessness, of dissatisfaction, but he brushed her concerns aside, assuring her that it was just a phase, that they would get through it together. She realized then how much she had kept from him, how far she had drifted from him without him even noticing. The affair continued, each encounter with Adam growing more intense, more desperate, as though they were trying to cling to something that was slipping through their fingers. Isabel found herself feeling trapped, caught between her love for Adam and her loyalty to Charles, unable to choose, unable to let go. One afternoon, as she sat alone in her office, Isabel received a call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end was calm, polite, but there was a coldness to it that sent a chill down her spine. "Isabel," the voice said, "I think we need to talk." It was Claire, Charles's sister. Isabel felt her heart sink, knowing immediately that Claire had discovered her secret. They met at a quiet cafe copyright, and Claire wasted no time in telling her what she knew. She had seen Isabel with Adam, had followed them one evening, and had seen enough to piece together the truth. Claire didn't shout or accuse. She simply looked at Isabel with a mixture of disappointment and sadness, and asked, "Why?" Isabel found herself at a loss for words, unable to explain the tangled mess of emotions that had led her down this path. She tried to apologize, to promise that she would end it, but Claire's expression told her that it was too late for promises. "You have to tell Charles," Claire said firmly. "He deserves to hear it from you." Isabel left the cafe copyright feeling hollow, knowing that she couldn't keep running from the truth. That evening, she sat Charles down and confessed everything. She told him about Adam, about the affair, about the feelings of emptiness that had driven her to seek something outside their marriage. Charles listened in stunned silence, his face a mask of pain and betrayal. When she finished, he looked at her with an expression she had never seen before, a mixture of anger, hurt, and sadness that cut her to the core. "I thought we had something real," he said quietly. "I thought we were happy." Isabel tried to explain, to make him understand that it wasn't about him, that it was something inside her, a void she hadn't been able to fill. But her words felt hollow, inadequate, as though they could never capture the depth of the pain she had caused. In the days that followed, the weight of her choices pressed down on Isabel, suffocating her. She tried to reach out to Adam, but he had grown distant, frustrated with her indecision and the consequences of their actions. The affair that had once felt like a thrilling escape now felt like a chain around her neck, a reminder of her own weaknesses and failures. Isabel tried to pick up the pieces of her life, but the damage was done. Her marriage was fractured, her relationship with Charles reduced to strained conversations and awkward silences. She felt isolated, disconnected from the people she had once held close, as though her choices had pushed her to the edges of her own life. She began to see a therapist, hoping to understand the emptiness that had driven her to seek out forbidden fruits, to betray the man she loved. Through painful, honest conversations, she began to confront the parts of herself she had kept hidden, the fears, the insecurities, the need for validation that had led her down a path of self-destruction. Slowly, she began to rebuild, to learn to find fulfillment within herself rather than in the excitement of a forbidden relationship. She focused on her career, her friendships, and her relationship with Charles, though she knew that things would never be the same between them. Months turned into years, and though the wounds of her betrayal had left scars, Isabel found a new kind of contentment, a quiet peace that came from understanding herself and her own needs. She had learned, through painful experience, that happiness could never be found in the thrill of forbidden fruits, that true fulfillment came from honesty, from facing her fears and her desires with courage rather than running from them. Looking back, Isabel saw her affair with Adam as a turning point. A painful but necessary chapter in her life. It had forced her to confront the parts of herself she had been too afraid to face, to understand the consequences of her actions, and to learn the value of self-awareness and honesty. She and Charles eventually separated, though they remained friends, bound by shared memories and mutual respect. Isabel knew that her choices had cost her dearly, but she also knew that they had led her to a deeper understanding of herself, a hard-won wisdom that she carried with her into the future. In the end, Isabel's story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of forbidden fruits and the price of indulging in desires that come at the expense of one's integrity and relationships. She had learned, through painful mistakes, that true happiness could only be found by living authentically, by embracing life with honesty and courage, and by understanding that the thrill of the forbidden is fleeting, but the consequences are lasting. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.